Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon. Nice to meet you. How you doing? I hope you're doing so very well. Today I have my April TBR. It is not March. We just finished March. Like, where has this year went? I have no idea. Today is going to be my April TBR, and for this I am going to be playing TBR Tarot as usual, but I'm also going to be running through some of my thoughts on how I'm going to participate in the magical readathon, Orilium readathon. I am so excited. I cannot wait to participate this year and hopefully build my character up to something really cool. But without further ado, let's wrap up the books I read in March. One of the cards I pulled in March was to read a diverse book, and for this I went with Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Hennon Blake. I read this and I gave it a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think the characters were very well done. The narrative was funny but also very cute and romantic. It gave me everything I wanted. The only reason I knocked off half a star is because I felt like it dragged in places. I felt like it could have been a little bit shorter and a little bit more mayhem could have been added to the plot, and it would have been a perfect 5-star read. But overall, I really enjoyed this, and I am definitely going to be picking up the sequel, which is Astrid's book. And I like the fact that we already met Astrid in this book, so going on to the sequel, I will know the characters and know the group that I'm following, and I really enjoyed this. 4.5 stars, glad I picked it up. Definitely looking out for the sequel. I also get 1 point added to my point system for reading this book. I am currently on 4 points, so adding this book will make it 5 points. Another card I picked was to read a fast-paced book, and I get bonus points if it was a mystery or mystery and thriller, and for this I picked We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This was a 3.5 star read. I really enjoyed it in the writing style sense. It was very interesting. It's not a writing style that I have came across often. It felt kind of stunted but also lyrical at the same time in places, so it was a very unique writing style. I think my enjoyment of this was kind of taken down with the fact that I had previously known there was a huge twist at the end of this book, and even though I didn't know the twist, I knew about the twist. So when the twist came up, I was expecting it and I knew it was going to be something big, so I kind of had my own thoughts as to what the twist would be, but when it came up it just didn't have that explosiveness that I wanted from it, so it kind of dampened my enjoyment of this book. It was a fast-paced book. It was definitely worth the read. I will probably read from E. Lockhart again because I enjoyed the writing style, which was so unique in what I've read, and hopefully the next time I won't know there's a twist and I can be surprised by it instead of being like underwhelmed. But I am glad I read this. I will have a video out with a review of this soon, so if you want to see my thoughts as I read and fully understand how I felt about this, then subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified when this video comes up, because there's also another book that is going to be in there as well, another few books. It's a good video. I'm very proud of it, so I hope you enjoy it when it does come out. But yeah, 3.5 star. And I also get to add 2 points to my total for this book because I read a fast-paced mystery thriller, so the bonus points is the mystery thriller, so 2 points gives me 7 points, and I am so happy. I actually am so happy because I managed to complete my TBR this month and I managed to read an extra book, so like I am so proud of myself this month. This is the first TBR Tarot I've ever completed, which means at the end of this wrap up and when I pick my next month's TBR, I get to pick my first reward ever, and I'm so excited for it, so yay, go me. The next card I picked was to read a book with drama, and for this I went with Corrupt by Penelope Douglas because this book had drama. This whole book was drama. I did enjoy this book. I gave it a 4 stars. It wasn't the best Penelope Douglas I've ever read. I enjoyed the writing, obviously. It's an author that I've read from before, and I kind of knew going in I was going to like the writing at the very least. I will say that this book is kind of cringy, icky. Like, there's a few things in this book that made me quite uncomfortable, and because like they were repeated a few times, I just kind of felt like they were not necessary to the story, and I was like, ugh. Also, there's a dog death in this, and if you don't know me, I am really sensitive when it comes to like animal cruelty in books, especially when it doesn't add anything to the plot. This added nothing to the plot. There was no need for this dog to die. This fictional dog did not need to die, okay? So yeah, it lost a half a star for that dog scene that did not need to be there, and it lost half a star for having the ick, because ugh. But overall, I did enjoy this, and I am looking forward to continuing in this series. I listened to this on audio, and I think that maybe upped my enjoyment of it. I think I probably would have nitpicked more if I read it physically or on ebook. So yeah, like, I'm glad I read this. We'll be continuing the series, and I got a really good conversation with Sephi because this was our buddy read, and I cannot complain. So, and I get to knock off another Penelope Douglas off my list, so I'm happy about that. With Reading Corrupt, I get 1 point, which brings my total up to 8, and I'm slowly clawing my way up to that 20 points so I can buy myself some books. The next and final card I picked was to pick a book with a favourite trope, and I get bonus points if it's mystery or thriller. For this, I picked The Silent Patient. My favourite trope is the look of a murder after a murder, and I can say that I gave this 3.5 stars. I did enjoy this book. I liked the twist. I think that it was very well done. There was some things in the writing style that I didn't gel with so much. I found it quite hard in this book to rate because I really enjoyed some of what the writing done, and I did enjoy the twist. But because this book's been so hyped, the twist wasn't like a gut punch like I was expecting it to be, and I kind of, at some points through the narrative, felt, I don't know, I just felt like it didn't work with the narratives that were taken in the book. I also wish we got a bit more of diary entries and a bit more of the before, and I think it's just extras could have been done. Stuttering so hard. I think some extras could have been added in there to really take this up a notch and make it a very fast-paced, addicting thriller. It was quick read, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and I kind of wish it was better because it's so hyped. But at least I read it, and for this I get to add 2 points to my tally, and that means that I get 10 points, and I am officially halfway to a book haul. My hair today is being crazy. I curled her, and she's just like poofed, and I don't know why, because I've done everything that I usually do, and I normally like more beachy waves unless I do my tight corkscrew curls. But yeah, no beach waves today, kind of just a curled mess that just kind of went poofed. So that's fun. I mean, I guess I'm having a bad hair day today. We all have them. No one is perfect. I feel like I'm wearing a wig. And finally, because I did not finish my February TBR, I had to take a punishment. And my punishment was to read a book that I previously said I wouldn't. And I kind of cheated on this a bit. I went to my anti-TBR tag I done, and I picked a book from that video. But the book I picked was not one that I said I wouldn't read. It's one that I said I find hard to get into the genre. I picked The Martian by Andy Weir. I find science fiction a really hard genre to get into, and it kind of intimidates me. But I listened to this on audiobook, and the audiobook is narrated by Will Wheaton, and I loved this. I gave this a 4.5 star. It was so close to being a 5 star. I am so surprised. I think this book was expertly done. It was hilarious. It was claustrophobic, but at the same time, it was very much science fiction, and I thought, I'm very dense when it comes to science. I feel like it just goes over my head, and I feel like this done a really good job of taking the science and putting it into layman's terms to make it understandable, and also added humor into it as well. The whole plot points, the plot line, the characters, everything was done so well. I will say I just knocked off a star because I think it could have been just slightly shorter, and some of the jargon could have been less because some of it seemed to be repeated. But apart from that, a 4.5 star. I was blown away by it, and I definitely plan on picking up more Andy Weir in the future because I really enjoyed this. And with this, I get to add one more point to my tally, which brings me up to 11 points, and I am so happy with that. Again, it is the first TBR I have completed, and I am so glad that I completed it because I get to pick a reward. But before I jump into April's TBR, I am going to mention I did read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I 5-starred this, I tabbed it, I loved this. I, again, read this for a video project that will be coming to your inbox soon enough, and I was blown away by this. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I did because it's so hyped and a lot of people love this book. I was scared to go into it, and I don't see why. Like, I really enjoyed this. It was emotionally hard hitting. The characters were really well written. The world and the plot points and the back and forth between the character as a young girl and an old like 20-something woman was so well done, and I just felt so much for these characters. I loved them. I loved Lily, and I cannot wait. And I cannot wait to see Lily and Atlas in the prequel, because in this one we get like Lily as a teenager as she meets Atlas, and I cannot wait to see that in Atlas's perspective, and I'm so excited. I loved this book. I'm so glad I picked it up. More thoughts to come, a full review to come, so stay tuned and pick up this book if you haven't, but look up Content Warnings because it's an emotionally hard-hitting book, and I just loved it. Unfortunately, this doesn't count for any points because this was an extra book, but I'm okay with it because I had so much fun. And now we are on to my April TBR. Yay, I'm so happy, I'm so excited, I cannot wait to get into this. So let's roll the first pick for Tarot TBR and get this underway. The first card I picked for Tarot TBR was to assign a top priority read, and for this I am going to read Falls Boys by Penelope Douglas. This is so top priority for me. This was just released. It is a spin-off of the Bully series. If you don't know, I have a vlog of me rereading the Fall Away series, and I will link it somewhere on screen. I had so much fun rereading them, and I believe this is the children of that series. It is a spin-off. It is Penelope Douglas. I need this, and I need to read it as soon as possible. So this is happening in April. I cannot wait, and definitely a top priority. The next card I picked was to read a hard-hitting book, and I get bonus points if it's fantasy. Yes, but I'm going to take a loss on the bonus points because I'm going to read My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, and I cannot wait to reread this. I've actually already read this. I listened to it on audio when it first came out, but now I have a physical edition and I want to revisit this world and these characters, and I think I'll get more enjoyment out of it reading it physically than I did with audio, and I just cannot wait. I really enjoyed this the first time I read it, but again, I just think my enjoyment's going to go up more because I'm reading it physically, and because I got this book at the Granite Noir event put on by Aberdeen Performing Arts, and I got to listen to this author talk and kind of like see inside the mind that wrote this was so refreshing, and now I just want to go in with renewed interest and see how I feel. So this is what I'm going to pick for that card. The next card I picked was to read a standalone, and it has to be mystery thriller to receive a point. And for this, I am going with She and I by Hannah King. This is a buddy read with me and Sephi. Sephi is always linked down below in case you're interested. Go check out their channel. I highly recommend. We are going to be buddy reading this in April. This was also something I bought at the Granite Noir event, and all I needed to know about this was it's about two best friends and they wake up with one of their boyfriends being killed and they come up with a story to tell the police. That is all I needed to know about this book before I bought it, and I cannot wait to read this. It sounds so interesting. I need to know who killed the boyfriend and I need to know why. So this is automatically on my TBR because it's a buddy read, and I'm glad I managed to fit it into TBR Tarot. I will also receive 1 point for this if I complete it, which is fine. I am so close. I am so close to actually getting to the 20 points. This is the closest I've ever been, so hopefully I can do this. And the next and final card I have is to phone a friend, and I get bonus points if it's contemporary or speculative. And for this, I asked Sephi to kind of film them picking a book for me to read to add to my TBR, and I'm going to react to it right now. And I am very much hoping that there's something on there that I can add to this prompt, and hopefully I just received this as a gift from Sephi, so my hopes are really high and I just want to read this immediately. Also, I have Colleen Hoover's Ugly Love here, and Sephi knows that I just finished It Ends With Us. We kind of read it at the same time, so maybe they'd pick this because they know that I bought it, and they know that I really enjoyed it. Maybe one of these, hopefully. This would fit for both points, this would only fit for one, so let us watch and see.
Hi Shannon's channel, I'm Effie. Shannon has asked me to pick a book to add to her TBR. However, I'm awful at making decisions, so instead I've come up with 4 books that Shannon can add to her TBR and just pick whichever one works best for her.
Oh, okay, we've got 4 books, so there is opportunity for one of the books that I want to come in here.
So the first book we've got is Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. This is part of a duology. I absolutely adore it. It's so beautifully written. It follows a young girl called Tarasai who has a very distant mother, and she yearns for her mother's affection. And one day her mother kind of compels her to gain the trust of a mysterious prince, and as soon as she's gained his trust, she must kill him. Second suggestion I've got is Gallant by V. Schwab.
Gallant.
This is Schwab's latest
work. I don't even know if I need to see the other 4.
A non-verbal 16-year-old orphan called Olivia Pryor, who only has one piece of her family, and that is a journal that her mother left, which seems to descend further and further into madness as it goes on. And she also sees ghouls. I've got is How Do We Relationship by Tamiful. This is volume 1 in a manga. It's really sweet and sapphic, and it's pretty much as you expect. It's these 2 young women trying to figure out how they have a relationship. It's very cute, very wholesome, and I really enjoy it, and I'm interested to see what Shannon thinks of it.
I don't own the manga. I could obviously borrow it from Sephi, but I think I would rather go for something that's actually on my TBR. And to be honest, because Gallant came up, I kind of just want to throw this on my TBR now.
And the final suggestion I've got, because I think Shannon's in quite a thriller mood for April, is a book that I don't own. I should point out, if Shannon picks How Do We Relationship, I will lend her this copy to read. But the final book, I don't own a copy, and I'm pretty sure Shannon doesn't own a copy either. But I would love to hear her thoughts, and I feel like it fits what she's in the mood for, and that is Verity by Colleen Hoover. We recently both read It Ends With Us, and both absolutely adored it. I know that Shannon wants to read more Colleen Hoover. This was the first book by that author that I'd read. I really enjoyed it, and I think that Shannon will too. But as I say, neither of us own a copy, and we're both technically on book buying bans, so I don't know if this is a good pick or not.
Oh, okay, okay. We also have Verity, and I'm so close with this. Like, I feel like that I was so close. They did pick a Colleen Hoover. It wasn't the one I bought, but it is one that I could get, and it would and it would count for 2 points instead of 1.
But that's my 4 choices. I can't wait to see which one you pick, Shannon. And love you!
I feel like I'm going to go with Galen, even though I lose a point. It's only right. It is a most anticipated. This was also a gift from Sephi, and it is dedicated to Rye because Sephi is the Kel to my Rye, and I feel like this just works perfectly for Sephi's pick, and I would receive 1 point if I complete this, which I will because it's so highly anticipated and I'm so excited for it. So for the month of April, these are the books that I will be reading. Also, Falls Boys is in here as well. They're my 4 Tarot TBR picks, and I'm so excited. Also, I now get to pick my reward, so let's hope it's a good one. This is how much faith I put in myself, because my jar of thorns are all post-it notes made out of roses, like origami roses, but because I've never picked from my rewards jar, I had to improvise and be really quick about what I'd done. These are literally just folded up pieces of white paper because I had to make it fast. If you have any rewards or punishments that I could put in these jars, I would really appreciate the comment down below, because I'm trying to find more options, but it's really hard. So comment down below rewards or punishments you'd like to see added to my jar. And here we have it. Oh, I think it says buy a book. And I could totally cheat here and just say that me buying one of the books I've already bought doesn't break the ban, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to take the opportunity to buy a book. What book, I do not know. I will probably tell you in one of my vlogs what book I end up actually buying, whether that be Kindle or physical copy. I will probably let you know as the month goes on. But I'm so happy that I get to buy a book in April without it breaking the buying ban, which is so exciting, and hopefully it will be a good one. So if you're interested, then watch my content throughout April and you will see what book I end up spending my money on, because apparently that's all I spend my money on. And finally, the most exciting portion of this TBR for me is the magical readathon, and for this I'm going heavy on this one. So I scoured, researched, I went through my shelves and picked out a book for every single prompt, because I didn't know what calling I wanted to do, and there's so many to pick from, and I didn't know how ambitious I wanted to be or how easy I wanted to take it. So the solution I came up for this was to create a bingo board, and throughout the month of April, I am going to read books to fill in this bingo board. I reserve the right to swap and change throughout the month, so I am hoping to vlog this and to show you what I read as I read it, as I fill up this board, and by the end of the month I will have a certain amount of things that I filled up, and I can hopefully pick a call-in depending on which prompts I fill as the month goes on, if that makes any sense. I have Falls Boys for alchemy and Gallant for animal studies, and She and I for astronomy, and finally I have My Sister the Serial Killer for restoration. I do have some books that I would like to fit on here. Again, these can change throughout the month. This is a very tentative TBR. The only ones that are set in stone are the 4 I picked for TBR Tarot. The rest are just books I'd like to get to. So we have for Art of Illusion, 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. This is one of my most anticipated. It seems like a good fit. Then for Conjuration, I picked the Charm Offensive, which is highly recommended from Sephi. So Also, it's contemporary romance, so I'm hoping I would get through it fairly quickly. For Sonics and Divination, I don't know if I said that first word right, so we're gonna blow past it like it didn't happen. I have put on here Summer Frost by Blake Crouch, and this is a short story on Amazon Originals, and this theme follows through for the next two prompts, which is Elemental Studies and Spells and Incantations. I picked two books from the Faraway short story collection on Amazon. I have the Princess Game and Hazel and Grey for these two. I thought adding some short stories onto here would be a good way to keep it easy, but also have something to read for every single prompt, which I like. So hopefully having these short stories on here will make these easier to achieve, I hope. The next one is Artifice. Apparently I can't speak English, so we're just gonna go with the board, and for this I'm going with Sea Witch, The Sea Witch by Kate Roberts. I'm going to listen to this on audio. It is the 5th book in the Wicked Villain series. I highly enjoy these. I find them entertaining and they're also smutty as fuck. So I have a fun time. I will probably manage to get to this because it's an audiobook and I have enjoyed everyone in the series. So this is on here. Also, the next prompt is Lore, and I have picked Neon Gods, also by Kate Roberts. Also going to audiobook this one, and I have high hopes. I mean, I go into this author thinking that I'm going to have a fun time, and so far it has not disappointed me, so hopefully I won't be disappointed now. The next prompt is Demonology, and I tell you, I scoured my shelves for a book that had shadows in the title, and the only one I came up with was The Shadow Man, and I bought this on a whim. I can't even remember why or where I bought this from, but I'm gonna give it a chance. It's better now than never. So also, it is like the only thing on my shelves that has shadows in it that isn't part of a series or the start of a series, so I thought a mystery thriller would be the easier pick. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. The one book I have on here that I very highly doubt I will actually manage to get to is Crown of Gilded Bones. This is for Inscription. I put this on here as an intimidating read, but again, I'm not pushing myself to read every single one of these. I am just trying to read what I can, and then at the end I can see what calling I would fit into, and I feel like that will make the decision for me instead of me having to make a decision beforehand. So this is on here very tentatively, and I don't know if I'll get to it, but this is intimidating, and I mean, it's there, it fits, it works, we're going with it. And lastly, we have Shapeshifting, which is going to be Catwoman, the graphic novel by Sarah J Maas. And again, I put this on here because a graphic novel, I could fly through this. Hopefully I'll get through it really quickly, and hopefully I will enjoy the majority of the books that I read for this readathon. So this is the board as it stands for a tentative TBR. When I start my vlog, this board will be cleared of all of these titles, and as I complete books, the titles will reappear, or new titles will appear, or they will be swapped, but this board will be filled in throughout the month. At the end of the month, I will then choose a call-in just before the month ends so that I know what I'm going to be taking for the autumn equinox, and hopefully it will be something fun and exciting, a call-in that I want to do. But this is the easiest way for me to pick a call-in without actually picking a call-in. It also gives me freedom to mood read and choose and pick what prompts, what books I read throughout the month instead of sticking to a very strict TBR, which I am all for. So that is it. That is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, comment down below if you're taking part in this readathon. If you are, what call-in did you pick? Because I'd be very interested to know that. But that is all. I hope you have a great day, a great week, a great weekend whenever you're watching this. Remember to stay safe, happy and healthy, and I shall see you next time. Bye.